and then right when you finished it, you had such a strong reaction, whether that be an emotional response, shock, some type of visceral reaction to it, and you feel like you would sell your soul, sell your firstborn child, sell your last cup of coffee to experience that feeling again. These are the books that gave me that feeling. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 10 books that gave me such a strong emotional reaction that I wish I could go back in time and reread it for the first time again and experience that feeling again, because I feel like I'm always going to be chasing that high, and most books just don't even come close to the way that these made me feel. So I have a little bit of everything. I have literary fiction, horror, thriller. I just have a mixture of a bunch of books that you might have seen me talk about on this channel a lot. Maybe you haven't. These are the books that I've been obsessed with for years and I can't stop thinking about them. I can't stop talking about them, and they all have a very special place in my heart. So I actually want to start with 2 thrillers, which I haven't been reading a ton of on my channel recently, but I do still like thrillers for that just easy, like relaxing component. They're just entertaining, and these 2 really stuck with me. So when I first started reading fiction years ago, I started with thrillers because they were always the books that I saw recommended, like the new releases, so on and so forth. People kept talking about them. So I was like, I'm gonna check these out. And the first book, or one of the first books that I decided to try thriller-wise, was The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I read this when it first came out and my mind was blown, okay? Listen, would I have that same reaction today if I read it? Maybe not, but this has a special place in my heart because it really threw me for a loop. So if you don't know what this book is about, you're following a psychiatrist who gets a patient on his caseload. And here this woman shot and killed her husband. She shot him a whole bunch of times and then went silent and hasn't spoken since. So he's trying to get her to talk about the situation pretty much. If you don't know, this has a big shocking twist, and I was completely taken off guard by this because I wasn't expecting something like that. Like I said, I've never really read thrillers before, so I just ended up absolutely loving this one, and then I was recommending it to everyone that I knew at the time, and then they ended up loving it too. So this is just one that will always stick with me. I wish I could go back in time and experience a thriller for the first time in my life, because then I was obsessed with thrillers for a while. So I wish I could go back in time and just experience that shock factor. And then another one, similar vibe, Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. If you don't know about this one, it's about a woman that goes missing and everyone expects that the husband did it. That's all I can say about this book. This is another one, same thing. There's one big twist that really took me off guard, and I just wish I could go back in time and just experience loving a twist, because now I feel like a lot of thrillers are doing sort of ridiculous plot twists that are not believable. There's plot holes. This one just felt super realistic to me, and so did this one. I like twists when they're realistic and there's one big twist. I don't like the here's 600 plot twists to throw you off track, and then there's plot holes and nothing makes sense and there's freaking ghosts popping out. That is not my thing. I really just enjoy these more realistic thriller books. So I want to go back in time to when these were a big thing, and I don't know what's going on now, but it's not my cup of tea. Then after my big thriller kick, I got into a horror kick. So I have 2 horror books here to show you, and the first one is Brother by Anya Alborn. I Freaking adored this book when I first read it. This is another one. Would I still love it today if I reread it? I don't know. I kind of feel like I need to reread these, but I'm scared to. This is another one completely threw me off guard for a few reasons. So if you don't know about this one, we are following this boy who grows up in this family of like murderous cannibals. Everything happens off page, but they basically kill women and eat them, okay? And his brother is just an awful, terrible person, and we're reading from his POV, and he's like the outcast of the family. He's like the black sheep. He does not agree with what his family is doing. So we're just kind of following his internal dialogue and this moral dilemma of like, should I be doing this with my family? Should I not be doing it because I know that it's wrong? And this book goes into such depressing, bleak places, and that's why I loved it. It's another one that has some like twists in there, but it just ends on a super bleak, nihilistic note. And this was the book that made me realize how much I love bleak, nihilistic endings. This book did it for me. So when I closed this book, I just sat here like this. I vlogged it like way back in the day. It's still up on my channel. I was just so shocked after I read this book. I loved it so much, and it's just one that gutted me at the time, and I wish I would still have that reaction to a lot of the books that I read. This one just made me feel nothingness. And then the next one is kind of similar in tone. It is Survivor by J.F. Gonzalez. Now this is splatterpunk. It's like a splatterpunk thriller. I do not really read this stuff anymore, but this is the first one that I read, and it blew my mind because I was so disgusted. If you don't know about this book, it's a snuff film book. So we are following this couple who gets separated on this road trip, and the woman is kidnapped and told that she has to star in a snuff film, and she has to do these like horrific things in order to save herself. It is traumatizing. Let's be real. Is this the most well-written book on planet Earth? No, absolutely not. But it had me on the edge of my seat. It is a book with like plot, like it's not just gross for the sake of being gross, but it has so many gross, disgusting, horrific scenes that have been burned into my brain that I can't scrub out, okay? This book traumatized me when I first read it, and for that reason, I wish I could experience this again, because it also has this like thriller component to it where things are like high stakes and I had anxiety, and for that reason, I wish I could experience this again, because now I'm so desensitized to everything that when I'm reading something, I'm kind of like, oh, I'm dead inside and none of this is registering for me. Like, I have zero emotions reading stuff like this anymore. But this is the one that I was like, wow, books can go there. Wow. This one was wild. Sticking with that disgusting, disturbing factor, I'm going with a transgressive book next. This is The Sluts by Dennis Cooper. So this one here is another dark, disgusting, disturbing book. If you don't know about this one, we are following, it's kind of, you're reading nothing but reviews on an escort website about this guy named Brad, and the drama and the story and the reviews of Brad, this sex worker. And we don't know who Brad is. We don't know if he's real. We don't know if the people reviewing him are real. We don't know if the stories they are telling are real. We don't know what is real. And the thing with this book is it throws you for a loop. Like, it throws you in so many different directions. I was like the It's Always Sunny meme trying to piece things together, and it's like not even about that. It's just about the internet and how anyone can be anything online. We have no idea what's real, what's not real. Anyone can go online and say anything. People go online and say things about me that aren't true. Like, you have no idea who these people are on the internet. And that's the terrifying thing about this. There are some disgusting, like, gross graphic scenes in here. But yeah, it's just showing like the truth of human nature and the truth of the internet. And this just really made me terrified. But I was so excited reading this book. Like, I just wanted to keep flipping pages, and just that feeling of wanting to get to the end to figure out how this was gonna end, to figure out, like, do we find anything out? I just loved this so much. I ate this book up. I wish I could experience this again for the first time for those reasons. This will always hold a special place in my heart. I was obsessed with this. And I was talking about nihilistic endings earlier, and the king of nihilism is Bret Easton Ellis, my favorite author. I wish I could experience every single Bret Easton Ellis book for the first time, because I am always chasing that high, and like, I'm never gonna get there. You know, I wish I could experience Bret Easton Ellis for the first time, but for the sake of this video, I went with one book, and that is The Shards. If you don't know about this one, it's kind of a blend. It's different than anything else he's written, and it's kind of a blend between autofiction, literary fiction, coming of age, horror, thriller. It's a blend of everything. So we are following a fictionalized version of Bret in high school, and he's just like navigating life with his friends, and at the same time, there's a serial killer on the loose, and a new boy shows up at school that Bret thinks might be the serial killer, the trawler. So that's what this book is. He's trying to figure out who the trawler is and what's going on in the town. And this book was so well written. I mean, so much depth, so much storytelling, so much character development. One of the most well-written books I think I have ever read in my life. I'm not even kidding. I thought this was just so masterfully done, and the way that this mystery unfolds and the ambiguous quality to this book that made me go on a freaking spiral. I was mentally spiraling trying to figure out what happened in the end and what was going on, and I just loved analyzing this and tabbing it and figuring things out. And then I read it a second time and like just trying to figure this book out, and I think I finally cracked the case. And just that feeling of something making me think so in-depthly, and something that held my attention enough for me to try to pay attention enough to fit the pieces together. And I just was so obsessed with talking about this. We read it for a Patreon book club. I loved the book club discussion. Like, we went into depth, and just that feeling of, oh my god, I think I figured this out just gave me such joy. I don't know. I loved the thrilling component to this book, and this was just such a well-written book. Such a well-written book. I can't wait. This is going to be a TV show, and I'm so excited about it. I'm here for it. Moving into some more like literary fiction, A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I read this book so many years ago, and it took me forever because it made me so depressed. I was so sad reading this book. Oh my god. If you don't know about this one, it's about this guy Jude, and he's like the glue that holds his friend group together, but he's been through a lot of trauma and abuse and continues to go through trauma and abuse, and we're reading through that. It is so sad, so depressing, so gut-wrenching, and I had such a hard time like stomaching this book many years ago when I first read it. And I wish I could feel this sadness again, which sounds weird, but it's very rare that books make me cry now when I read them. This one made me freaking hysterically sob like a maniac. And I wish I could feel that again. It's like I was saying earlier, I've become so desensitized now that it is so rare for me to feel the way that I felt reading this book, and it's a high that I've been chasing ever since, honestly. Similar vibes. Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. I actually read this one this year. The last 3 books that I have to talk about I read this year. This is one that, speaking of nihilistic endings, I mean, this is the book. This is the book for bleak nihilistic endings, okay? I read this, and if you don't know, it's about these 2 friends. One is mentally challenged, and they are like doing jobs on farms to save up enough money to like get a place together. And just the things that happen in this book are so gut-wrenching. It's really a book that just explores loneliness and alienation and the way that people were treated in 1920. And yeah, it's a lot of commentary on just like society and the way that people are treated, and there's like a moral aspect to this book, and it's mostly about human nature and how humans interact with one another. But it started out like a normal average book, and then it just gets more and more depressing as you read. The ending was just like staring off into the void of nothingness, and that is something, once again, that I love to feel when I finish a book. So I wish I could reread this again without knowing how it ends. This is Melissa, by the way. She is 5 pounds. Letters to Melina by Franz Kafka. I read this one this year. This is nonfiction. These are letters that Kafka wrote to this woman, Melina, that he was in love with. And she was his translator. They fell in love. They only met a handful of times throughout their correspondence. She was married, and they were both chronically ill and lived in other countries, so it was like this long distance thing that nothing was going to come of it. And so we're just reading through his letters that he wrote to her every single day. It is so beautiful and so sad and full of yearning and melancholy and all the things that I love. And I just felt this is the book that I was like, oh my god, Kafka and I are the same person. This is just so heavy and relatable to me, and just seeing how sad he was as a person and how miserable he was, and the thing that kept him going was, you know, waking up every day, waiting for the mailman, getting his letter from Melina, writing her a letter back, and just those little moments and those people that we meet throughout our lives that kind of keep us sane and keep us going. And yeah, just the fact that he couldn't be with her because of distance, and this was just so sad and relatable to me. I mean, I read this and it took me forever because I couldn't sit down and read huge chunks of it because I was literally going insane. Like, I was crashing the fuck out reading this book, and I so badly want to crash out again. And then last but not least, this is my favorite book that I've read so far in 2025, and that is Rejection by Toni Tulathamuti. This is, I mean, look at all the tabs. This is a short story collection where the stories are loosely interconnected. It is satire, and we're following like millennial internet culture. We're following people who are chronically online and people who can't handle being rejected. So we're following a lot of virtue signaling, a lot of characters that are just so out of touch. Lots of internet slang in this one. And the thing that I loved about this book is that, first of all, some of the stories were so funny, which is rare. I very rarely read a book and find it funny, which is why I picked this one, because I wish I could laugh out loud reading this again because I found it so hilarious. But not only that, these stories build into a bigger story that is kind of just showing like how many people online are virtue signaling and kind of that false wokeness that kind of goes on a lot online, and showing how that can be harmful. I love the way that this was done because he was making fun of all of us. Like, everyone was made fun of in this book, okay? And then he ties it together in the end and makes it so smart and so witty and clever. I just love this book. It's so smart, it's so funny. I loved everything about this. I do have a full review that I'll leave linked, but yeah, I mean, I wish I could laugh out loud and just be mind blown by this book again. So that was it. Those are my big 10. Those are the 10 books that I wish I could experience again for the first time. I'd sell my soul to be able to feel these feelings again. Let me know in the comments down below a book that you wish you could experience for the first time again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.